So, I want to talk about one of the laws that operates inside of your mind, and that is the law of however you hold others is how you hold yourself. Do unto others as you want unto you. And that expression goes a lot deeper than just the actioning part of it. It really has to do with how you hold people inside of your own space, inside of your own mind, with your thoughts, your emotions, and with your actions. And one of the important things I want to make us aware of here or share is that however it is you're holding any relationship with any being outside of you, and for that matter anything outside of you, be it your brother, your sister, be it police, be it authority, be it your phone, be it food, all these relationships that we have inside of ourselves with this external world show exactly how we are holding relationships in our mind with ourselves. So if we are holding anger or resentment or jealousy or frustration towards another and reflecting onto them and projecting that onto them and believing it, what we're essentially doing is we're saying, let's say, Bob, let's say I didn't agree with the way that Bob lived his life, and that I think that he should be more concentrated and more focused on himself. I immediately put myself a little bit above him, and I immediately create a relationship inside myself that says that I am sort of higher than, or especially if I've got some sort of attachment to that, it creates that vibration inside of you. Look at where it all happens. Look at as soon as you're judging someone, as soon as let's say even the good side of things, let's say if you're loving someone, if you're enjoy with someone, if you're absolutely amazed by someone, where does that amazement start? Where does that anger start? Where does that frustration start? Where does that intensity start? It all starts inside of you. It all happens inside of you. And then you use the outside world to project that too, consciously or unconsciously. And one of the strongest, or not one of the strong, but one of the laws of this mind that we have is that however you hold your relationship with things outside of you is what you're gonna attract to yourself. So evaluate your relationships, evaluate the way that you see people, especially those people closest to you, and see, is this true? Am I truly seeing this for what it truly is inside of myself? Am I reflecting and projecting myself onto this person, especially those closest to you, especially family? It's a very strong one as well. And it will show you it will show you something very special and very real about how you hold yourself, and might show you and shine a light on how you're treating yourself at your subconscious level, and bring to light things that might need to shift, potentially, more than likely. So be aware of how you hold these relationships with your phone as well, of course. So I know many people that resent their phone, and to be honest, the phone ain't feeling the resentment. It's not picking that shit up. It's happening inside of you, and you're resenting a certain part of yourself that maybe is not as focused as you would like, or that gets distracted, and you haven't made peace with that part of yourself. And as such, you project onto your phone, and you're like, oh, my fucking phone, this and that. So the reason I wanted to share that information with us today, and provide that sort of guidance and knowledge, is because within myself I fell into the illusion of the projection of my mind, and forgot about this law, do unto others as you want unto you. You're gonna hold yourself how you hold others. And in particular, I did this with my cousin, who is the closest person to me. in a, the deepest way, at a soul level. He reflects so much of me to myself. He's perfectly designed to reflect all parts of me, and in particular, those parts of me that I struggle to see in myself and accept in myself and start to shift in myself. And what I did is I started to put my ideals onto him inside of myself. Not necessarily always expressing it to him, but holding the intense expectation of him to go deeper inside of himself, to learn more about himself, to not be so distracted by the outside world, to be more concentrated in his approach. And as I've been walking through with this vibration, with this idea of him, I sunk so deep into it, and it's very understandable because he's so close to me. You can sort of almost forget about the fact that, hey, although he is the closest person to you, and although he is that family for you, the way you're holding him is still literally how you're holding yourself. And what that came to show me was the intensity of which I have a relationship with myself, and a certain type of intensity, and an unhealthy maybe intensity, and that is with the high expectations that I have of myself to grow and to be this being that is continuously evolving consciously, and bringing in all this, or learning all this higher knowledge, and trying to be this higher person without fully appreciating where I am in space and time, and where I am in terms of the evolution of humanity, and also appreciating my humanness. Um, and so I saw that what I was doing to myself is I was at my head level being extremely tough on myself in a subtle way. It's a very subtle kind of tough. Especially when I would stray off of the path that I thought I should be following. Starting to be hard on myself when I'm not doing what I thought I should be doing, or thinking, oh, I've been doing too much of relaxing and doing having laughs around a fire and talking a bunch of smack and shit that doesn't make, most of the time doesn't make any sense. It's just funny. And holding that against myself quite intensely, because of my ego's attachment to the self that I believe that I can achieve, and but in my dreams over the past 3 nights or so, it came to me where I was completely enraged with frustration at my cousin in my dream for certain different reasons, of him doing things. And it was so intense and so real, and such intense anger, and I'm like, surely that can't exist in me. And frustration, and indeed it actually did. I woke up this morning and I wrote it down properly. I was like, I can't avoid this dream anymore. And it showed me inside of myself, forgetting what he did, but it showed me what actually existed inside of me. And it's this essential intensity that comes from here, that has been established sometime back in my life, where I'm like, you must work harder, you must evolve harder, you must be more disciplined, you must be this kind of a conscious being, you must learn in this way, you must, all these different things, and sort of be creating these chains that when I'm not doing them, I become angry at myself for not doing it. And that anger is so deep rooted in myself that I found it so easy, and that expectation, I found it so easy to give it to him and to see that in him. And so I woke up this morning and wrote that down, and it all just streamed through me. It was like, you're holding a lot on yourself. You're holding a big task on your shoulders, yeah, to be something that you're not really meant to be. It's just your ego's idea of what you're supposed to be. And so I decided to start letting it go. And this energy got freed up. I let it go. I let that anger, I let that vibration that's coming from here move through and come and express itself and show itself, and know that it's valid and it's ready for the shifting to happen. And that could have never really happened if I didn't have the understanding of projection and the understanding of that outside world is how I hold myself. How I hold that outside world is how I hold myself. And that's sort of that's the lesson of the day. And I mean, as soon as you pull that veil up and you realize that it's not about the outside world, that it's truly about your own internal standing with the outside world and your own internal standing with yourself, which are basically the same thing, then you really start to connect to the truth of what is happening in this dimension and what's happening in life. And that is that we are all intimately connected at the center of our hearts, and we are all capable of changing the world and changing the wave patterns and life forms that start to express themselves and life ways that start to express themselves in this world, by just turning inward and just being true to you and true to whether you want to bring love into this world, or if you want to continue bringing a low vibration state of fear, stress, anxiety, lack of self-confidence, if you want to continue moving forward with those. And really, as soon as we tune into those different frequencies, as soon as we become those frequencies, we start to change the structure of what's around us, to match what it is that we become. So if you want to see freedom, and if you want to see peace, and if you want to see love, and if you want to see all these things in the world, you got to really hold that vibration in yourself. And if you can't, you've got to figure out why you can't, and go into that and pull out all the roots that need to be pulled out, and all the old programs that need to be pulled out. Because we can really truly affect the world much more efficiently and actually more truly from inside here than you could ever by trying to affect the outside world that's going on over there. Because intrinsically we are tied together inside of ourselves. I'm tied to you and every single person on this earth and every single thing in the universe through myself and through this heart center. And that is now science that is proven, that we all fluctuate in and out of a void that connects everything. And this void, known as the quantum field, has the information of all, and we are coming in and out of that at rapid rates and feeding information to it, and it's feeding information to us. So what information are you feeding to the field that connects everybody? Went off on a tangent to talk about that, but fundamentally just remember that one law of your mind: do unto others as you would like to have done to yourself. And of course, how do you want to create the world? What are you feeding back into the void? What are you feeding back into reality? How are you holding yourself? What vibration are you holding? Those are the questions. So much love, guys. Trust this shone a bit of light into your day. And yeah, just be completely honest and real with yourself. And look inward. This is where it's done. On the inside. That's where the work's done.